I've been doing a lot of thinking lately, as I usually do, right? But over the past couple of days, one word has really stuck out to me, and that word is commitment. And as I think about it in various contexts, commitment can mean a lot of different things and can apply to a vast array of things, such as commitment to relationships, right? Commitment to family, friends, commitment to a significant other, committing to a job at hand, a task at hand, committing to a new healthy hobby, right? There's so many different avenues and paths that the word commitment applies to. And I think that's a big reason why it's come up a lot in my internal dialogue and conversations I've been having. And so over the next couple of minutes, I kind of want to talk through my thought process and what I've been thinking, because I feel like it's a conversation, an internal conversation that I feel like a lot of people have out there. But before I get into that, if you're new here, hello and welcome. My name is Cooper. I'm a recent college graduate, documenting my journey as well as giving advice to you all here on this YouTube channel. So if that is something you are interested in, feel free to stick around. So, wow. Yeah, so commitment. That, again, is something that has been on my mind constantly over the past few days. And I feel like the best way to start is just talking about where do I want to be in life? What are my goals? I would say for me as a man, in today's world, my biggest goal that I have for myself is I want to be a husband and I want to be a father. The idea of fatherhood and family life, being the head of a family, providing for a family, raising the next generation, continuing my bloodline. Like, that's, as I've gotten into my early 20s, that's a desire that has quickly reached the top of my bucket list. For a good reason, right? I think it's a very ancient, primal, common desire, right? And so with that goal comes certain checkpoints or expectations, certain rungs on the ladder that you must step on in order to reach that goal. And obviously one of those things is a relationship, right? Is finding that girl to embark on this journey with, right? And so that got me thinking. I was okay, well, obviously, in order to have the house, the kids, the dog, the white picket fence, right? The life that you want, well, you need someone to share that life with. Well, how do you do that? Well, that starts with, going out and meeting people, meeting beautiful young women, right? Finding a suitable partner to embark on that journey with, right? And so that's really where the idea and the word of commitment started going off like a siren in my head. It's like, well, in order to achieve that life, you need to actually commit to somebody. And as soon as you start going down that thought process, it gets a little scary. I feel like a lot of people, including myself, we fear jumping in the pool, jumping in like a cannonball, going in unprepared, right? We need to evaluate all the possible outcomes and circumstances and variables before we can make a decision. And it can lead to a sort of paralysis. I know it has for me, where to me the answer is so obvious, right? It's like, I need to go out into the world. I need to go out and put myself out there if I want to meet that girl to hopefully spend the rest of my life with, right? But it sounds so simple, yet why is it so hard for me to do it? And I think it's because of this fear of commitment. And so why is there that fear of commitment? Well, I think it really boils down to a series or a chain of thoughts that we have in our mind, or at least that I have in my mind, right? And so to commit to something, or to commit to someone, to be ready to commit to someone, means that you feel holistic enough, centered enough, self-worthy enough, self-confident enough in order to commit to someone 100%, to have that person rely on you, to count on you. But in order to feel that way, you have to value yourself enough to feel comfortable to put yourself in that position. But we don't want to do that, right? I think that's the scary part, is coming to terms with yourself, learning how to value yourself enough to feel ready. And I think that is the conversation I don't want to have. And I think that's the conversation a lot of people don't want to have, is deep down, like myself, I've found this about myself, is that while I present, I can have, let's zoom out just a little bit. I have done so many amazing things in my life that I am extremely proud of, right? I graduated college. I went to college for one, and I graduated summa cum laude. Like, that's awesome. I've worked extremely hard to, build a good resume, to have a good job, to, have good friends, to start building good hobbies, right? I do all these things to present myself as well put together. But as soon as I do a little bit of self-reflection, I feel like it's all kind of a cover-up to hide a deep and profound brokenness that I haven't quite figured out yet. Because it's not like it's a brokenness from, past trauma. And I think that is something that a lot of people can have, is people either, in an environment that they were raised in, or with a past traumatic event, feel that there was this shattering that took place in their life at some point, and now they've never been able to get past that. That is one possibility for a lot of people. For me, it's not quite that. I feel like growing up, it's just, I was never shattered. I felt like I just was never truly put together, or I just never felt, as an introvert, I never felt comfortable in my own skin. And sometimes it can be hard trying to trace that back to its origins, right? But the fundamental idea remains. Whatever the reason, many of us walk around with this internal brokenness, like we're shattered on the inside, and we try to hide that by presenting ourselves as whole on the outside. And whenever we step up to the plate and it's our turn, it's that time in our lives to move on to the next phase, which requires a certain level of commitment, deep down we feel that we're not ready, because how can we be ready for something that would require a certain level of self-perceived value in order to do it, yet we don't feel that level of value about our own selves. And I think that's the hard thing to try to come to terms with. And that's the hard thing that I'm currently battling, is how do you value yourself, right? What does it mean to value yourself, to love yourself, to feel comfortable with yourself? And I think one thing that comes to mind, there's a famous movie that I'm sure many of you have watched. And it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I would put it up there. And it's, now I'm blanking on the name, with Robin Williams. Good Will Hunting. There we go. I was blanking for a second. I was like, oh God, no. Can't be blanking now. But yeah, Good Will Hunting. And there's an awesome quote in there coming from Robin's character, where he talks about, he follows Matt Damon's character, and Matt Damon in this movie is playing this kid, essentially someone who's very same age, like 20s, and he presents himself, he's a super smart, he's a genius in the world, Yet deep down, he has this brokenness that stems from past trauma, and he blames himself for it, and thus he doesn't commit to this girl he meets, and he's always on the defensive. His entire life is about deflection and not committing to people, and also trying to find ways to tear other people apart. And the entire thing is really a defense mechanism. It's not that he's a bully, it's that he is unsure of himself, is that he doesn't value himself. And one of the best scenes in the movie is where he's talking to Robin's character, and Robin goes, sorry to break it to you, but like, you're not perfect. But that's the wonderful thing, is that you're not perfect, but this girl, she's not perfect either. But the important thing is whether you are perfect for each other. And I've been thinking about that the past couple of days. And so I've been thinking about going and rewatching the movie, because it's a very good movie, and the message taken from it is profound. And I think the answer lies in just that statement, is that I feel like a lot of us, the reason why we don't value ourselves is because we've been taught to have this standard of perfection when it comes to our lives, to our looks, to our body, to our personality. We have this marketed standard of what the ideal woman, what the ideal man should be. And I feel like we constantly compare ourselves to that standard. And whenever we're not up to that standard 100%, we beat ourselves up for it. And we say, no one would dare want me because I am not that. How could I be loved when I don't love myself because I don't meet society's standard? When in fact, we shouldn't be trying to meet standards. We should try to be taking care of ourselves, obviously, but we shouldn't be striving for perfection. If you're going to be striving for perfection, you're going to be striving for eternity, because perfect doesn't exist. Perfect only exists in the way that, if you're a guy, the girl you marry is perfect because you married her. She's your soulmate because you married her. You didn't marry her because she's perfect or she's your soulmate. Rather, it's the reverse. And same vice versa with why the woman would marry the man. And so that's kind of how I'm trying to reframe my mind. And so I just kind of want to offer these 13 minutes of advice, just talking about my internal conversation when it comes to the idea of commitment, and how I'm trying to break through this mental wall, so I can start making strides in reaching some of my life goals and aspirations. And so if you found anything of value in this video, feel free to leave a comment below and let me know, some of the things that you're thinking about and dealing with. I'd love to talk about it and help you out if I can. And with that, if you found any additional value, feel free to stick around on my channel, where I post new videos every Tuesday and Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And with that, I will see you guys on the next one. Godspeed.